మాత్రం తెలియదు కదా. LIC అవి క్లెయిమ్ చేసుకుంటారు కదా, ఇన్సూరెన్స్ అవన్నీ. Good evening everyone. Welcome to Tech Tutorials 2K21. So today we are at live session 3, Master Core Java in 30 days. And in today's session we are going to learn about the keywords, data types and operators available in Java programming language. So we'll discuss about each and every concept in detail, and then we'll see how you are going to use these concepts to write the Java programs. So today we'll discuss about these concepts. So I'll start with keywords. So in any programming language, like you can take any procedural or any object-oriented programming languages. So the keywords are nothing but the reserved words. So these reserved words can be used for a specific purpose in programming languages. So we can have a different purposes for each and every keyword, and those can used to perform that particular functionality in programming languages. So in Java, so every keyword is having a specific meaning in Java programming language, and they can use for a specific purpose. So these are the list of keywords available in Java programming. So you all familiar with some of the keywords which is already available in your C language and the previous languages what you learned. And then all these keywords are added in Java programming also, and including the more keywords will make your Java is having more functionality. So here you can see all the keywords are listed in an alphabetical order. Like we start with an abstract, asset, boolean, break, byte, case, catch, character, class, constant, continue, default, do, double, else, enum, extern, final, finally, float, for, go to, if, implements, import, instance of, int, interface, long, native, new, package, private, protected and public, return, sort, static, strict FP, super, switch, synchronized, this, throw, throws, transient, try, void, volatile and while. So these are the list of keywords which is available in Java. So when the versions are increased, so the latest version when you take, it may include some other keywords into the list of the keywords. And I just categorize all these keywords under a different functionalities. Then we'll discuss in brief about those. So now see here, the list of Java keywords is categorized into 5 categories, like which is used to represent the primitive data types and void data type, and representation for a modifiers in Java programming, and some of the keywords are used for declarations, and some of the keywords are used for making the control flow of the program, and some keywords are used for miscellaneous purpose like memory management purpose. So like we start with the primary primitive type and void data type. So we can use the keywords like boolean, byte, character, sort, int, long, float, double and void. So we are familiar with character, integer, double and float along with short and long. So here the other keywords are added like byte and boolean. So boolean is a data type which is available in Java, which is used to store a single bit, either 0 or 1. So which may be represented with values like true or false. Whereas byte is a keyword which is used to define a primitive data type byte, which is of having the capability to hold 8 bits of information. Whereas the characters sort, int, long, float and double is similar um, as like a previous programming languages, and void is of type a return type which cannot return anything. So for these category, we are going to use all these keywords. And then in Java programming language, like an access modifiers, so like it makes a accessibility, means it can modify the accessibility of the class or the methods or constructor, whatever it will be. So for that we can use public, private, protected, and these are three access modifiers as well as an access specifiers. And then we have an abstract as a keyword, so which will give which makes some modification on a class. So it will make some modifications on a class definition. So whereas static and transient, final, volatile, synchronized, and native. So all these are different types of keywords. So which is used for as a category of these modifiers. So you can start with an abstract. So it is a keyword which is used in Java programming for declaring an abstract class. So we know like abstract class, so is having the methods and the data members like a class. And those methods in an abstract class is doesn't having any implementation. So we can use these methods for making some hiding of an information in Java programming. Whereas a static is a keyword which can used along with a data members or the variables or methods, and these methods is having some special definition in Java programming, like what are the data members we can make it as a static, and those data members can access and those can be modified by using the static methods. So whereas the final keyword which is used for making a particular variable as a constant, and then this transition keyword is used for serialization in Java programming. So when you make any data member as a transition, then it will not be serialized. So for serialization concept, we can use this transient keyword, and we can use the volatile keyword to indicate that a variable may change asynchronously, like the variable can be changed. And for providing the synchronization in Java program, we can use the synchronized keyword. And native keyword is used to specify method is implemented in a native code using Java native interface. So these are used for implementing networking side programs. So whereas the third category of declarations, so now in Java we have a different concepts like class, interfaces, packages, and then inheritances, right? Exception handling, all these things. So whenever we want to make such declarations in Java, we can use all these type of different keywords. So the class is a keyword which is used to declare a class, as like an interface is also a keyword which is used to declare an interface. Implements and extends keywords are used to implement the inheritance as well as an interface concepts. And enum is used for user defined data types, whereas the package is a keyword which is used for creating the packages. And then throws is a keyword which is used in exception handling. So when you want to throw multiple exceptions, so we can use this keyword. And for controlling the flow of execution of the program, so in Java also we have some keywords to support that. So those will be if, else, switch, case, break, default, for, while, and do, and continue. So these are the keywords which is used to implement all different types of control structures as well as different iterative statements. So then this try, catch, throw, and finally, and these are the keywords which is used to handle the exception handling in Java programming. So then return is a keyword, so which will return something from a function to a class. Whereas the miscellaneous category, we have different keywords like this, new, super, import, instance of, null, true, false, and strict FP, assert, goto, and constant. So this keyword is used in Java for referring a current objects or current things. That may be of a current object or method or whatever it will be. You want to refer a current, we are go with this keyword. Whereas the new keyword in Java is used to create an objects or given a memory, reserved a memory by using this keyword. Whereas super keyword is referred the parent class methods or parent class constructors. So we can use the super keyword. Import is used to link some packages or some sub packages into our program. So that may be of user defined or predefined packages. So then instance of is a keyword which is used to find whether any object or any data member is belongs to that particular class or not. So it will check. And null is a keyword which is used to refer a null pointer, whereas true false is used for referring a Boolean values. Whereas the strict FP is used to restrict the floating point calculations to ensure the probability. And for that we have to use this strict FP, so which can give a restriction on a floating point calculations. And we can have a keyword like assert and goto and constant keywords, so are used to implement unconditional statements in Java. I mean unconditional control statements, whereas the constant keyword is used in Java for declaring a constants. And coming to an assert, it is also one of the Java keyword. So which is used to define an asserting statements. So which will declared. So any expected Boolean conditions are there in program, so that things can be taken by this assert keyword. So we can discuss about all these things in brief. So whenever we come up and we work with all these keywords, so we'll discuss in brief about each and everything. So now the next thing is a data types. So data types in programming languages is used to specify how much memory we required for keeping an information in programming, and what type of data we are going to use in our program that can be taken by the data types concept in any programming languages. So coming to Java, like we have two different types of data types are available. One is primitive data type and the second one is non-primitive data type. So all your primary data types will comes under this primitive data type like Boolean, character, byte, sort, integer, long, float and double, and all these comes under this category of primitive data types. Whereas non-primitive data types, so we can use of these primitive data types, and we can define such non-primitive data types like class, interfaces and arrays, and these will come up the category of non-primitive data types. So as like procedural oriented programming, like each and every data type is having some default sizes, and by using this default sizes we can calculate the ranges of data they can hold. So in Java, I already informed that Java is a platform independent language, and it is an architectural neutral language, so that whatever the processor you are using, like it will be 32 or 64-bit processor, we don't bother about the sizes of data type, because it can support the same ranges. So that is an advantage with Java programming. So these are different primitive data types we have in Java, like Boolean, character, byte, sort, integer, long, float and double. And the default sizes for each and every data type is specified here. Like suppose if you are taken a Boolean, so the size of Boolean is 1 bit. So now 2 power 1 is 2. So you can have the size is of 2. So you can use the values, like you can define two different types of values by using this Boolean representation. So 0 or 1. So 0 is for false and 1 is for true representation. And whereas the character, it occupies 2 bytes in Java, whereas in C it occupies only 1 byte. So for Java it occupies 2 bytes. So now when 1 byte is represented with 8 bits, now it will take 2 bytes, that is 2 power 16. That much of range of values can hold by the character in Java programming language, whereas byte can occupy only 1 byte, so that is of 8 bits. So now you can take 2 power 8 will be the range of byte. So it will take both on positive and negative side, like minus 128 to 127. So whereas sort, it is of 2 bytes. So again it will be 2 power 16. So the range it will be minus 32,768 to plus 32,767. So the similar it can be for the character also, that will be the range, and it can take the characters, and the characters can be represented with their equivalent ASCII values from 0 to 255. So now coming to the next data type is sort, which will takes 2 bytes, whereas integer is 4 bytes. So now 2 power 32 will be the range of integer. So it can take up to minus 2,147,483,648 on negative side, and it can take maximum of 2,147,483647 on positive side. So the ranges of any data type that can be taken depends on the default size of the data type. Like you can convert into bits and you can find out 2 power that particular value will give you the range. So every thing will be taken on two sides, like positive and negative, so that we can divide the total by 2. Now you are getting two different values, because on positive side we are taken 0, so we are including the last value which is less than 2, the negative side values. So in this way we are going to calculate the sizes of these primitive data types, that will provide you the ranges. Whereas non-primitive data types, so like your class, arrays or interfaces, so which can be formed by using these primitive data types. so that defaultly the sizes of these non-primitive data types will be null. So initially we don't have anything once. So depends on the thing we are going to use. So in Java programming language, suppose if you take a concept of class, so now class will consisting different data members. So every data member is having their data type. So depends on that the class can occupy some memory to hold the data members. Again, that can be decided by the number of objects you have created for your class. So initially we cannot say this will be the size of your non-primitive data types, and that can be depended like what you are going to use inside of your classes or interfaces or arrays. So depends on that the size is going to be calculated, and then depends on the concept the memory is going to be allocated is also differ. So whereas coming to normal variables, what we discussed yesterday, like your local variables. So when you declare a variables itself, it can hold the memory which is specified by this sizes. So now the next concept is operators. So in programming languages, the operators is placing a very important role because whenever you want to make any computational part, and that can be done by the operators only. So like simply you can have only the operator or only the operands or some variables or something, we cannot do any manipulations. So in order to do a logical things or in order to do any processing part of the program, we need operators concept for any programming language. So you can take any program like procedural or any object oriented programming languages. So every language is required operators to perform the operations. So in Java also, operator is nothing but a symbol which is used to perform the operations, like depends on the type of operator is going to be performed such type of operation. So in Java we have 8 different types of operators are there, like unary operators, so which we name it as an increment or decrement operator. So simply we can have unary operators, we can say, and then arithmetic operators, shift operators, relational operators, bitwise operators, logical operators, ternary operators, and assignment operators. So we'll discuss in brief about each and every operator. Then we are going to write the programs by using these operators in Java programming. So I'll start with arithmetic operators. So the arithmetic operators is used to perform the basic arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So for performing arithmetic operations, we need at least 2 operands. So then only we can perform any operations. And that operands, it may be of a variables or some constant values. You can take any type of values and you can perform the arithmetic operations on that. So all your arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and modulus operation, and we can do all these operations in Java also. So I'll demonstrate with a simple program how you can going to use these arithmetic operators in Java. So so for these basic programs, I'm using Notepad to execute all the Java programs. So later, when we come up with the concept of object-oriented programming, so we'll see how you can write the programs in Eclipse environment. So I'll go through Eclipse for explaining all the remaining concepts. So for basic, we are going to this Notepad. So now we are going to write a program. So for performing arithmetic operations in Java. So whenever you want to write the programs in Java, so we have to use classes. So first of all, we have to take a class. So class is a keyword which is used to declare the classes. So you can give a class. So class name you can start with capital letters. Suppose my class name is Arithmetic. So because I'm provided this name because we are going to implement arithmetic operations. So I'll give name it as Arithmetic. Okay, so this is my class name. So in this, I'm going to take my main method so that I can use public static void main. So which will take string as an argument. So remember, Java will treat everything as a string. So whenever we want to make it as some other thing, we have to use the wrapper classes concept, and then we can convert the strings into integer or float or something. Otherwise, it will treat everything as string only. So now in my main, so now here I'm taken variables. So I can take two variables, like suppose if I want to take two integer variables. So number one is one variable which I can initialize with some value, and I'll take one more variable, that is number 2. So now I'll assign with some value 6. Because here I'm assigning the values, I'm keeping in my mind, like I need to perform all arithmetic operations like division and modulus also. Because of that, I'm assigning my values like this. And then, so we need other variables to keep the results, so that I can use the variables like add, sub, mul. So mul is available, I think so. Okay, we'll see. So if we get any problem, then we'll change it. Div and mod. So now these are 5 variables I declared for keeping the results of each and every operation. So simply here I'm going to take add equals to num1 plus num2 semicolon. So sub equals to num1 minus num2 mul equals to num1 multiplied with num2 div num1 divide by, so we can give div as a backslash, then you can use num2. So for mod operation, I'm using num1 modulus of num2. So in Java programming, whatever you want to display on your screen, you just use system.out.println statement. So S is capital because it's a class name. So out.println is a method in out. So now print ln. So here I need to print the values in the variables add, so that I'll give like this. So I just copy and paste for 5 times, and I'll modify the content inside which I'm going to print. So it will save the time. So here I need to print subtraction like sub, and here I need to print multiplication, and here it is div, and here it is mod. So these are the variables is having the values. So now I'm going to print all these values after I'm computing the addition, subtraction, multiplication and everything. So my main is completed, so I can close my main method and later I can close my class. So now I need to save so that I can use my class name, and here my class name is arithmetic, so I can use the class name. So because you have to remember in Java, whenever you want to run your programs, you must save your program with your class name only. Otherwise, your Java compiler is not going to recognize. So I can give an extension of .java. I just save this program. So I saved in HTML folder, so which is available on my desktop. So I just open my command prompt. Here I need to run my Java files. So first of all, I need to change my directory to desktop and to HTML folder, because I saved all my programs in there only. So I can change my class path. So now here I'm going to execute my compile my program like arithmetic.java. So now here I need to give my interpreter Java, and I can pass my class name, because after compilation it will create .class file with the same class name. So I just execute this. Now you can find out that values like 21, 9, 92 and 3. So these are the values after we are performing these operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division and modulus operation. So this is an example for arithmetic operations. So the programming and everything is same for all programming languages. The logic is same, but the way how you are going to implement is different. So here you are familiar with the other programming languages like C and C++ and everything. So there we are going to print something. We can use like printf statements or cout statements. Whereas in Java we can use system.out.println. So this is only the statement we can use to print the content on your screen. And in Java programming language, it is not that much of easy to take the content from the keyboard itself directly. So because I already said like in Java programming language, like your compiler will treat everything as a string. So it cannot differentiate like an integer and all these things. So because of that reason, whenever you want to take the content from the keyboard, we have to make some differentiations. So we'll see that thing little bit later. So here it is a program for an arithmetic operations. So I'll minimize this. Let's move on to the next thing, that is the relational operators. So relational operators in Java also used to compare two quantities and make a decision. Like always, the relational operators will return a Boolean values. So like Boolean value means it will return true or false. Suppose if you make a comparison between any of two, like simply it will return either 0 or 1. So it will return a Boolean value. So like we have different relational operators like less than, greater than, less than or equal, greater equal, equal and not equal. These are the relational operators we have. So these operators will return a Boolean value. So I will show you that. Mm. So now I'll create so another class like class relational. So this is my class name, and here I'm going to create my main method. So simply I can use public static void main, static void main. So most probably these relational, logical and bitwise operators, whatever the other operators we are going to discuss, and everything we are going to use with the control statements basically, because we want to make some decision, and depends on that we can choose the path to execute your programs and everything. So, but here I am going to illustrate only how you are going to use the relational operators in between two operands, and what is the result it is going to print. I will show you. So, public static void main, and here you can give string args. So, you can provide the subscript before or in between the strings and args. That is also correct. So, now here, suppose I want to make some comparisons. At least I need two arguments, so that again I will take two variables, and you know that these variables are said to be local variables because I declared these variables inside of my main method, right? So such type of variables is said to be local variables, and these variables are available within this main method only. I cannot access these variables outside of the main function even in the same class. So now num equals to num1 equals to, suppose if I am take 16, and then num2 equals to some 45 or something. So now I want to make some comparisons and I want to return the result there. So I can take a Boolean data type, right? So Boolean. So now here I am taking result, Boolean result. So I'll try to make a comparison like RES is equals to num1 greater num2. So here I'm going to comparing whether the number 1 is greater than number 2, and we see here I'm assigning number 1 with 56 and number 2 is 45. So obviously 56 and 45 is compared, and then 56 is greater to 45. So it will return the answer as true, right? So we'll try to print the answer. So if you know how you can work with this, then you can apply the remaining things also in the same way. So print ln, or you can give a print also. For if you are using with a print ln, like it is going to print each and every your result in the next lines. So that is the difference between system.print and system.out.println. Okay, simply here I am going to print result, and then I can close this and I can close my class. So now it's time to save my program with my class name. So I'll provide save as. So in a same destination, I'll save my program. So with extension of .java. So now in command prompt, I need to execute Java C. I need to compile it first, Java C, and then my program name is relational.java. Now it will give me a prompt. So when you are getting the prompts like this, like you didn't have any errors there. So if you are not getting, and you are getting something is nothing but you have some syntax errors in your program, you need to rectify that before you are going to execute. So I am using interpreter Java, and I am provided my class name simply relational. So now you can see it will return a value as true. I see, because I already said num1 is greater than num2, this condition is true, so it will return a value as true. So in this way you can use all your things. So like here I will show you how you are going to concatenate. Like simply here I am given, simply I am going to print the value. Suppose you want to see some statement like that. So the result is. So if you want to print like that, so simply you can use double quotation and whatever the string you want to display, and that you can give in this double quotation. The result is, right? Suppose if you want to give like this, the result is. So you want to display this, then simply give in between the double quotations, and then here you can use the concatenation operator. So plus is a concatenation operator. So simply you can use this concatenation operator and you can give the variable. So that's what you have to remember. So whatever the thing you want to give, and that you need to give in a double quotation. So which is of your string constant. And I just say this and run the program again. So now I just run this. Oh, sorry. Relational.java, and then I'm going to run Java relational. Now you can see the result is true. So as like previous programming languages, how you are going to formatting your output statement. So you can also do the same thing in your Java programming also. So whatever you want to concatenate the things, like you want to concatenate the string with the value or the result, simply you can use the plus symbol. So that's what the thing you have to do in Java programming. So as like this less than, and you can make any other comparisons, like if you want to compare like it is lesser, right, or it is less than or equal. Suppose see I will execute this case also. So now you can find out that it will show you like it is a false, because 56 is not less than or equals to 45. So I run the same program again, see compile it, and I'll run the same program. So now you can find out the result is false. In previous case it is true. So remember, when you are using the relational operators to performing some operations, some relational operations, so it is going to return a value of type Boolean. So it can return either true or false. So now coming to our next category of operators are the logical operators. So logical operators are used to perform the logical operations in Java programming language, like which are familiarly used for decision making in programming. We are going to use this logical operators. Like whenever you want to compare any of two quantities and depends on that you are going to make any decision, then we have to link two control or two conditions by using this logical operators. We have three different types of logical operators, like logical AND, logical OR, and logical NOT. So logical AND operator will give you, means all these logical operators also will give you the Boolean value as your result. Means it can return either true or false. So depends on the expressions it is going to be evaluated, and it will check if both conditions, like if both expressions are true, if any one of the expression is false, or if both expressions are false. Depends on that, it will give you the results. So all these logical operators are implemented with the logical gates. So this is a logical AND gate, and this is logical OR gate, and this is NOT gate. So logical AND and logical OR gates will take minimum of two input symbols, and it produce one output. And the output will say like if both the inputs are false in AND gate, if both the inputs are true in AND gate, it will return true either in any condition. If any one of the condition fail, or if both condition fail, always the logical AND will returns false. Whereas the logical OR, so it will take two inputs, and it will works like if any one of the condition is true, at least one condition is true, then your OR will say the condition is true. And whereas the logical NOT gate, it will take only a single input, and it produces the output is also a single. So if you say yes, it will say no. So that is the purpose of logical NOT gate. So it depends on your program requirement. So it depends on that whether on what situation we are going to make a decisions. If both conditions true, then how you are going to make a decision, or you can make a decision if any one condition is true. So depends on that, you can choose the logical operators, and we can use in between that. So now I'm going to illustrate with a simple program how your means the logical things is going to use, and we are using all these type of operators for implementing different kind of programs. Like you can find out like summing of all even numbers, or factorial of a given number, and you can do all the operations. So there I'll explain you in brief about all these operators along with the control structures. So here we are at the basic, so we'll see how we can write a programs for these operators, because that is my aim, so that I'll go through a simple examples and I'm going to illustrate that how we can use these operators. So now it will say like logical and or something like that. So I'll take one more class. So here I'm taking class logical. So this is my class name, and here I'm taking public static void main. So this is my main function. So in this main function, string args, and here I need to take three variables like a, and I'm going to assign with some value, and then b I'm going to assign with some value, and then c, and here I'm going to assign with some other value. So I'm taking three variables, and then see here I'm going to use like this. So I want to make a comparison. Again I need one variable of type boolean, because it is going to return a boolean value, so definitely I need one variable to hold this result. So now here I'm using like this, so result is equals to, so now I makes a comparisons like if a is greater than b and a is greater than c. So now I'm going to check if a is greater than to both b and c, right? So this is my condition here I'm given. So like here first it will check if a is greater to b or not. So if that condition is either true or false, right? So it before it making any decision like whether a is big or not, so it is going to check with c also. So here it will check a is greater than c. So when we discuss about the bitwise operators, I will give you an explanation the differences between this logical and bitwise operators. And here I am going to take my system.out.println. Remember always in system s is capital because that is a class. Out.println. So now I am going to return my value from result. So then I close my main function, then I close my class. So I save this program with logical.java because my class name is logical. So .java is an extension for Java files. So I'm using my command prompt to run. So Java C. So Java C. Here I'm given logical.java. And here I need to use Java interpreter. Then I can use my class name logical. So now you can see it will return false because you can observe that here I'm given A is 56 and B is 89 and C is 75, right? So I know that 56 is not greater than to 89, right? So here I'm asking. So my question is if A is greater to B and A is greater to C. So I'm asking like that. So now it will tell me A is not greater to B, even A is greater to C also, A is not greater than B and C. So because of that reason it will return false. So what your logical end will say, if any one condition fail. So now you can see in this expression the first condition is fail. So any one expression is fail, then your expression is going to false. So because of that reason it will return my result as false. Suppose C, for example, if I am given like a logical OR operation, so simply I can give a 5 symbols. So now it returns true because if any one of condition is correct, I will say my answer is correct. So because of that reason, see, I'm save and execute the same program. Now you can identify the different answer. So Java C, logical.java. So then Java logical. So now you can see. Is it all right? What it will say, A is greater than B. So A is greater than B or A is greater than. So about this is a logical operators, and then we have a bitwise operators. So the bitwise operators can work at bit levels. So these operators can work at bit levels. And we have different bitwise operators like bitwise AND or exclusive or ones complement, shift left and shift right operators. So these operators can work at bit levels. So we can so these bitwise operators like shift left and shift right. So it is going to be shifted the bits one position left or right. So obviously means you can give any number, and first of all that is going to be taken in a bits format, and it will do the operations at bit level. So I already shown like what thing is going to be happen when you are using the gates. So now you can see it can perform the operations at bit level. If 0 0 is there, then it will give you 0. If 0 1 is there, then it will give you 0 like this. So and after that it will give the value again in decimal. So I will show you some example. The small values we are taken and we are trying to find that. So we are performing bitwise operation. So I can take a new file. So here I am taking a class bitwise. So public static void main string args. So now here int num1 equals to 5, num2 equals to some 8. And here and after performing the bitwise operation also, it will give you some value which is of type an integer, so that I will take my result is also an integer. And here I am using res is equals to. So now I need to perform any bitwise operation, like suppose if I perform AND operation. So I'll give you AND num2, num1 and num2. And here I'm going to print system dot out.println, and I'm going to print value from result. And before I'm going to give you a output, I will illustrate like see for example 5 we can represent it with 0 1 0 1. So in binary representation, you can take 5 as 0, 1, 0, 1. Whereas 8, it can represent it as like 1, 000. So now we are taking those values like 0, 1, 0, 1 and 1, 000, and we are performing the AND operation. So AND operation will give you like if any one of thing is 0, then it will return 0. So it will make all things are 0. So now the output will be shown. I will show you the output. So this is your bitwise, so that I need to save my program with this class name and extension is Java. So here I can give Java C and my program name is Bitwise. .java is an extension. So what it will give, okay, out.println, yeah. So I need to println. So see, if you have any errors, it doesn't give you a prompt for an execution. So now you need to change that address and you have to save it. So again I'll run this. So Java C. So now the things are correct. So here I'm going to give Java and space I can give like bitwise. So see, the result is 0 because I already said like we have the value 5 can represented in binaries as 0101, whereas 8 can represented as 1 all zeros. So now you can find out all these combination. You can take any combination at bit level. So any one thing is 0 or both are 0 cases are there. So there is no case of 1 1. So because of that thing, it will make every bit as 0. Then it will give you the answer as 0 here. So this is the way how you are going to use your bitwise operator. So instead of here, you can use like this. And after that, if you want to perform any shift operations, you can give how many bits you are going to shift. Like you want to shift 2 positions or 3 positions, like that you can give. And depends on that, it will shift the bits and give the result. Right? Suppose if I want to do shifting operation on this. So simply I can give like this. So num1, and I want to shift left 2 positions of this num1. So now you can find the value is not 5 because 0101 is there and it will shifted the bits left 2 positions, right? 2 positions left. So obviously when you shifting the bits at left position, so now we are getting the rightmost bit we lost, the leftmost. So we are finding the result. Okay, I'll save and execute this. So now you can find out the answer is 20, right? See, after it shifting the bits of 5 to the left 2 positions, so it can shift only 2 positions, right? So then you're getting the answer like this. So this is of bitwise operators. And then we have assignment operators. So simply an assignment operators is used in any programming for assigning some value on right hand side of a variable. So you can take anything. So like you want to assign with some value, then you are going to use an assignment operators. So here assignment operator is equals to symbol. So you can use these assignment operators for a shortcut notations, like on left hand and right hand side we have same variable for doing some operations. Then simply we can use these shortcut notations. Like if you want to do like x is equals to x plus y, simply you can write x plus is equals to y. So like that you can. And then the unary operators is like your increment and decrement operators. We can use plus plus or minus minus operator for performing the increment and decrement operations. So plus plus operator is said to be an increment operation. So which is going to add 1 to the variable. Whereas the minus minus operator is said to be a decrement operator, which is going to be subtract 1 from the variable. So now coming to increment and decrement, we have two different ways of increment decrement operators is there. So like simply we can take a pre-increment and post-increment and pre-decrement and post-decrement. So coming to pre-increment, so the value of that variable is incremented first before it is going to be used. And for the post increment, the value is used first, then it is going to increment. The similar way for the decrement operation also. So I will demonstrate with a simple program. So here I am using unary. So remember always class name is given as the first letter as capital. So it is a better way of using, so that because of time constraint I'll make the changes here itself, but I need to save this file with save as thing. So for unary operator, suppose if I am taken my num1 is 5, so this I want to do the operations here. So my result can keep the pre-increment operation of this num1. So now you can find out that the value of this num1 is going to be incremented first before it is going to be used. So I just save this. Okay, so I can say this. If you want to save, then you can use the same file name, but here my class name is changed, so I need to save as this file. So I'm using my file name as unary. So unary.java. So now my program name is unary.java. So I just go to execute this. So java c unary.java. So now you can see Java unary. So now you can see the value is 6. So I already said like in pre-increment, so the value of a variable is get incremented first, then it is going to be assigned. So whereas if I am using post-increment, so post-increment is nothing but the after variable you have to give. So this is said to be a post-increment. So when you use a post-increment operation, the value is used first, later it is going to be incremented. Right? See here, I will show you. Simply I'm using Java, and I can use like interpreter. So now you can find the value is 5 only. Because see, in post increment, the value is used first, then it is going to be incremented. The same way for pre-decrement and post-decrement also. So when you are using pre and post decrement operation, so the value 1 is subtracted from the variable. So the purpose and everything is same, and we are going to use these unary operators along with iterative statements. So we are using most probably that, because we need to count down something or we need to count up something. So there we are going to use. Whereas the last operators in Java is a conditional operator. So this operator is known as a ternary operator. So whereas except the unary operators, for the remaining operators we discussed that everything we can say is a binary operators, because those operators, in order to perform an operation, it requires at least two operands. Whereas the ternary operator is your conditional operator, so which will take three arguments, or which will take three operands. So now the combination of question mark with colon is said to be a conditional operator, and so this is going to be work like this. So now you are taking the first expression. If this expression is true, then this expression is going to be evaluated and this is your answer, or else this expression is going to be evaluated and this is your answer. So I just illustrate with a simple example. So we'll take a new program like class. So here I'm using ternary. So this is my program name, so my class name, and here I'm going to use public static void main. So static void main, and here I need to pass string arguments. connecting arcs. And here I can take a variable of type integer. So here I'm going to do one thing. So I can take two variables like A equals to some 56 and B equals to some 89 or something like that I will take. And then I want to take a result so that I can take one more variable. But here I'm using, yeah, okay. I can print the result. So now it will give me like in the result. So I'll take one variable. So now here I'm going to use this ternary operator. So see, result equals to. So suppose for example, if I'm checking that if A is greater than B, if A is greater than B, I'm interested to perform addition. So A plus B I can perform. So whatever the thing you are going to ask, it will do that. So if A is not greater than B, so then I want to perform A minus B. So this is the thing I'm going to do with this conditional operator, right? And the answer I'm going to assign to my result. And now from this, I'm going to print the answer. So system dot out dot println. So my answer is from result. So I just print from result. So then I can close my main function and I can close my class. So now I save this program with ternary.java. So I just run this program. So Java C ternary.java and then Java ternary. So it will give me minus 33 is my answer because we know that A is not greater than B. So if A is greater than B, it will perform addition, right? Suppose see, I will change this. If B is greater than A, so then you can find now the answer will be different because now I'll make the condition evaluation is changed. So now you can see Java C and then Java. So now you can find out here, see the arithmetic addition operation is there. Because if condition is true, then it can perform addition. If condition fail, then it can perform subtraction. So this is a way how you are going to implement the programs on operators concept. I hope you all enjoyed today's session. Thank you. We'll meet again in tomorrow live session and we'll discuss about the control structures there. Thank you.